computer.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, where did
Okay, all right. If everybody can hear me, welcome
the
to
message?
Calm.
The message, honey.
No, you got to mute somebody.
Okay, don't worry
I
about it.
don't.
Welcome
I'm
to
gonna
Faith
go
and
take
Calm.
confirmation.
No, welcome to Faith and Calm. This is episode 140. I am, believe it or not, in Oklahoma City, and Shalom Judas is back home. The major I work for said you must come to this meeting here at Tinker Air Force Base. So that's where I'm at. So this is where I'm at. I had a lot of time to learn on the plane. And so I'll try and give over some of the high points of what I learned on the plane. And I think it's pretty interesting. Tonight's class is going to be a continuation of, tell me, is the audio coming through clearly? Yeah.
Perfectly. Keep going.
So, a little continuation. Now we are approaching, I think, in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Excuse me,
it'll be
10
called-
days. 10 days.
10 days. Yud
Today's-
Shvat.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. So this is the big holiday where we received a mimer from the Frierdiker Rebbe, and the Rebbe explained it each year, which basically, as I said last week, I think it's called I call it the user manual for life. How you're supposed to, what are we doing here in this world? Or as Rabbi Manius Friedman said, which I thought was very cute. He said, you're born and you have a lot of needs and you have problems. And therefore, most people spend their whole life trying to figure out how to take care of their needs and their problems. That's a very sad story. If you just your whole your life, you're just, if you were never born, you wouldn't have had any needs for food, housing, friendship, love, all these other things. So the whole reason that you come into this world is because you have problems and you got to take care of those problems. And at the end, you've finally gotten your problems in order. That's not that much of accomplishment. So as he explains it, he says, the reason we're here in this world is because to serve, because somebody needs us. In other words, God needed us. That's why he put us in this world. And that's why he gave us all our interesting challenges, because he says, when you do that, then I take care of your challenges. So Basi Lagani is all about this idea. What does it mean to serve Hashem? How do we serve Hashem? What does it mean to be in the armed services? And that's what we are here. We're in the armed services. We are the soldiers of Hashem, it explains. So just to briefly recap the major themes of it, and then I'll go into the special theme for this year. So the major theme is, it says, the mimer starts with the idea, it says, Basi Lagani Ahosikala. It's from Shir Shirim. It says, I came into the garden, my sister, my bride. It's talking about God. And it says that initially God was here in this world with Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, and the Gan Eden. This world was the Gan Eden. This world was the Garden of Eden. And unfortunately, humankind messed up. And we weren't thrown out of the Gan Eden. What we did is we sort of threw God out of the Gan Eden. And each generation after that messed up again. And they moved from the earth to the first heavens. And then when Cain killed his brother, it moved to the second heaven. And when Enosh started singing, it went sinning, it went to the third heaven. And it kept moving, because it kept moving further and further away until it looks like today, where it seems like there's no godliness in this world at all. You completely deny godliness. However, there were the 7 shepherds, starting with Avram Avinu, and he started to bring godliness back into this world. He brought it from the 7th heaven to the 6th, followed by Yitzhak, which brought it one level closer to the 5th, and then Yaakov to the 4th, until finally Moshe, who's the 7th, brought godliness back into this world on a temporary basis until they messed up again with the golden calf. But he gave us the tools in which we can actually reveal this world to be what it truly is, a Garden of Eden. In other words, this world is not a jungle. It's not a dog-eat-dog world. It truly is a Garden of Eden. However, that was concealed with each level of avera of sins that we did. And therefore, Moshe said, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make a temple, and I'm going to dwell among you. Meaning, God wants to have a place in our lives together with us. He doesn't say, I'm going to dwell in the temple. He says, I'm going to dwell in you. When you do the service of what happens in the temple, you actually help bring godliness into yourself into the world, into the temple, all three at once. We make the temple by transforming ourselves, by making ourselves and lifting up ourselves. We bring godliness into this world. That is, in a nutshell, the message. However, there's some big questions here. How can I do it? What do you mean? The temple is destroyed. What? How does this all work out? Why did God set it up this way that we are the ones that have to do it? Why can't God just do the whole thing? Well, those are the big questions. Those are the big questions in life. So let me give you a brief overview then. What he says there is, and what the Rebbe explained was that the making of this world from a materialistic, uncaring, atheistic, ungodly world, which doesn't want to have anything to do with God, into a godly world is not a simple task. It is a war. It's a battle. Life is a battle sometimes, many times, maybe all the time it's a battle. It's a struggle. And therefore, we have to actually bring godliness into this world. We have to be the soldiers. We are given the tools in which to battle the atheistic, materialistic, uncaring world and turn it into a dwelling place down here in this world. Hello, Molly. Yep. So.
Sorry, I had a snowplow out front.
Oh, don't worry.
The last hour so loud.
I'm in Oklahoma, so we're supposed to get 8 inches of snow tomorrow. So I got to go out. So, okay, so you didn't catch that. I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh, I heard that. I said, good luck.
Good
How
luck.
long are you there for?
4 days, 3 days.
3 more days?
3 more days, yeah.
I
So
hope it's
anyway,
sunny.
so we are trying to make this place a dwelling place for godliness down below. We're soldiers. And in a battle, who fights the battle? Well, it's the king's battle. The king makes the soldiers go to war. So this is the nature of it. This is the battle of God. As I said at the beginning, we are serving God. So we serve God. He has a battle. He wants to conquer the world. He wants to transform this world into a place where he can feel comfortable in. So therefore, he gives us treasures, tools in which we can actually transform and change the world. Now we get to the theme of this year's Parsha. First
What
off,
are those tools?
First get this idea of the king.
Okay.
The king, it says, kings fight wars for 2 reasons. One is to conquer, to get more property, to get more wealth, to get more other kinds of stuff. And then there's the second kind of war, where the king is just flat out, I gotta win. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I don't care how much it costs. Losing is not an option because it's all about being a ruler. I can't be a ruler if I'm a loser. So kings are not losers. So they put everything into it. We can see this in 2 ways. We can see this in the holy way and in the unholy way. The unholy way, I can give you a great example that it just almost falls into your lap. Look at Putin. There's no sense in what he's doing. He's put everything in. He's devastating his own country. He's devastating his own people. He's killing the Ukrainians who are also his own people. It makes no sense, but he can't back out because he would be a loser. And therefore he throws everything in, all his might, all his weapons, everything into it. God, on the holy side, is doing the same thing. He wants to win this war. He wants to transform this world into a holy place, into a godly place. And therefore, he has treasures, just like the king has treasures. A king, like the King of England, has the crown jewels. And those crown jewels are usually kept under lock and seal, and they're never spent, and they're not even under insurance. There's nothing to protecting them because they're infinitely precious. Those are the tools that God gives us to try and transform the world. He gives us, when we do our part, he lavishes us with all sorts of energies and capabilities and possibilities. And that is the theme of the mimer for this year. But first, before he explains all these wonderful treasures that we get, he has to explain another point, which is the following. These treasures are hidden. They're higher and higher. In the Zohar, it says There's a Zohar called the Tikkuni Zohar, which has 70 explanations on the word of Bereshis. And in this Tikkuni Zohar, it says that this treasure is Lamaila Lamala Aden Kate, higher. No, Lamata Lamata Ein Tachlis. It's below. It is godliness extends down to this world, further and further and further down, with no limit, with no limitations. And also, godliness goes up, higher and higher without any limitations. What we are given is powers which our minds cannot wrap around. We are given abilities that are beyond our ability, without our understanding. It's higher than any of the intellect we can do, higher than what we think we can do, higher than the talents we understand. But in order to be able to relate to that, God also says, before that, I'm going to also introduce you to how much godliness actually is involved in this physical world. Because when people look at the physical world, they tend to think of it as something that's cut off, divorced from godliness. And what explained in this year's mimer is the godliness is here. Not only did God create this world, and not only did God create all the stupidity in this world, but he also is present within this world. Even in the places that look the darkest, that even look the most concealed, there is godliness to be found there, and it's just waiting for us as the soldiers to reveal it, because the soldiers are the ones who fight the battle. And therefore, the king gives weapons and tools to the officers to give to the soldiers. And we are the ones that actually do it. We are the foot soldiers. We are the ones that bring it out. But when we look at it, we say, hey, I got a lot of problems. I got a lot of issues. It's a hard world. It's difficult. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. So God says, don't worry. I'm there with you. I'm there in every aspect of existence. No matter how far down, no matter how concealed, no matter how unholy this world looks, there is godliness there. The Maggid of Mezrich explained. He said, what did he say?
Are you applying that to right now?
Right now.
Are you speaking about right now, that no matter how things look, that God is there? Is that
God
what
is-
you're saying?
Yes. There is no
Okay.
place that's devoid of him. It says that there is, we think that, that there can be obstacles, that God cannot actually get down into a certain kind of place. And what God has basically said is no. In your soul, you are a part of God. When you sin, he can't disconnect from you. Lo nadacha ben menu nadacha. You can never push God out of your life. You can make it difficult for him. You can make it painful for him. You can make it, but he is always attached to us no matter what. And therefore he's ready to come and rescue us no matter where we are. The example that was given was as follows. I said, a lifeguard. A lifeguard, when he has to go into the water and save a person, and he has to make sure that he's still tied to the lifeboat. He has to make sure that he doesn't get in trouble. He has to make sure that he's able to rescue the person. And so he has to take care of number one first, and he doesn't put himself in too much danger. Otherwise, he won't rescue anybody. And at the end of the day, he goes home. He's done his job. He's rescued him. That's not the case with God. God throws himself into every single situation. In every person who seems so far removed, and he gets pulled in because God is tied to us, like a parent is tied to the child. And no matter how low that child goes, the parent is going to go diving after them. It might be very painful, but the parent is going to go diving, is going to go after the child. So when we mess up, as the Maggid said, God is. I know what he said. It's very interesting, but let me fill that in first. So God is not like the lifeguard who takes care of himself first. He says, I'm like that king. This is my battle. I'm going to throw my life away in order to win this battle. The king, when things get really, really, really sensitive, he puts himself on the front lines and he says, I'm going to win this war. So, I'm not going to just rely on my soldiers. I'm going to be there too. God is here. This is the final battle. You see how crazy and how stupid and how without meaning everything is these days, how much fake news, how much disinformation. And God is saying, that's right. You have to lift the building from the bottom. You can't pick it up from the top. If you're going to lift the building, you have to go down into the dirt. So therefore, I put my soldiers, in dirt situations, in difficult situations, in physical, in a materialistic world. And there I will be with you, because this is the final battle, and you have to finally clean out the last as elements of this world, because Mashiach is about revealing godliness even in the lowest, most silly, stupid, unimportant situations. The word for the first I said before, the Tikkuni Zohar says that he's lamata ad ein tachlis. So I heard somebody explain, it means both he's here down below without any limitations, but tachlis can also mean without any goal or purpose. This is a purposeless world. Some people don't think there's a purpose to this world. The purpose of this world is just to take care of myself. As the guy who once said, he was camping with one of his friends at night, and he was, and then he heard a bear, so he started putting on his sneakers. And his friend woke up and he said, "What are you doing?" He says, "There's a bear. We got to run out of here." He says, "Do you think you're going to run away from that bear? He's faster than you and for me." He says, "It doesn't really matter. As long as I run faster than you, I'll be okay." So this is how people look at the world. They think of it as a jungle. And God is saying, no. There's a purpose of this world. And you are my foot soldiers. You are the ones that transform it. So there's the saying that says in the Torah, it says the following. It says that every mitzvah that God asks us to do, he does himself. So if he tells us to put on tefillin, God has tefillin. But instead of in his tefillin, instead of saying, well, ours talks about Shema Yisrael and how God is one, and he says, hey, in his tefillin it says, Mi kamocha ami Yisrael. Who is like you, my people Israel? He talks about the Jews. We have to love Hashem, and God says, I have to love the Jews. So the Maggid of Mezrich was once asked a question. It says, fear of God, awe of God, is one of the mitzvahs we're required to do. What does God fear? And his answer was really stunning. His answer was, God sits and watches each one of us, and he gives us free will to either do our service or to serve him or not to serve him. And sometimes we do the right thing, and sometimes we do the wrong thing. So God sits there in fear. What is he going to do now? Is he going to do the right thing, or is he not going to do the right thing? Because I'm stuck with this guy. No matter what he does, he's going to pull me down into the dirtiest parts of the world, the most immoral, disgusting, Paro, Melech Mitzrayim, the king of Egypt, into all sorts of immorality, transgender, who knows what they're going to pull me into tomorrow. But I'm not going to cut myself off. I can't cut myself off. And even in there, I'm going to give that person who slips down so low the ability to do tshuva, and to be able to therefore release the sparks and to release the holiness, even in that awful, difficult, dirty situation. Because God is not going to get hurt, like the lifeguard who might drown. God is not going to get hurt. So therefore, he puts himself in. Is it painful? It's terribly painful. It's terribly painful for God, because he's got a mission and he wants it to happen. And whenever things don't happen the right way, it hurts him. It hurts him a lot. It really is very painful to him. But you know what? He trusts in us. He trusts in us that we will wake up from what our dreams of gullus. We will wake up from the materialism, and we will wake up and we will start serving him. And he believes in us, and therefore he's like that lifeguard. He's going to be in with us. He's going to trust us. So that is the theme of this year's part of the Mimer, is no matter how low it goes and how difficult it is and how it seems completely contradictory to what God would want in a holy world, this is actually where godliness is eventually supposed to be revealed. It's not in the holy places in Jerusalem. It's not in the holy yeshivas. It's about dealing with the brute matter of the physical materialistic world, and showing that is not the final rule of everything. In fact, the whole purpose why there is these kind of things in the world is to be another place where godliness can be revealed. And that is the mission of Basi Lagani.
Rick,
And that's
can
what
you
we
explain
just
that last sentence again, please?
sure.
You said
Sure.
the whole purpose of the material
world is to make a dwelling place for godliness. At the beginning of Basi Lagani, you missed the beginning. So at the beginning, I said, God made this world a Gan Eden, a Garden of Eden. Many people think it's a dog-eat-dog world. He says, no, it isn't. I made this world a Garden of Eden. The problem is that Adam sinned, then Cain sinned, then Hevel sinned, and godliness was still here present in the physical world, but it's not seen, it's not revealed, it's not tangible. And therefore, Avraham, and then Yitzchak, and then Yaakov, and each generation afterwards started to bring it back. And Moshe gave us the final tools, the seventh. He gave us the tool of making a temple. And in that temple, we make a temple within ourselves. When we use these tools, when we do the mitzvahs, when we do things in difficult situations, when we act like soldiers with self-sacrifice, especially, that is the greatest revelation of holiness in this world. Because otherwise it just is, oh, it's nice, it's a custom, we do it, that doesn't really bring out the ultimate level of godliness. The ultimate of godliness is there is nothing that stops God, and there's nothing that can stop you. And no matter what situation you find yourself, no matter how difficult it might be, if you found yourself in such a situation, which you don't want to go into in the first place, but if you do find yourself in it, and you're saying, what am I supposed to do here? God is with you. God needs you, and God is looking for you to come up with an original, unique, special way to fight in that particular place, because the battle is won by each individual foot soldier. And if each soldier only has to do his little part in his little piece of the world. For some people, it may be writing. Some people, it might be oratory. For some people, it might be just being a nudnik. That's the reason they came down into this world, is to be a nudnik, a comedian, or whatever it is, to enlighten people. Those are all ways of serving God, if what you're doing is indeed serving God, not yourself. So when you serve God in the comedy clubs and in the wherever you end up, you are actually bringing in a little bit of godliness into this world. And we each are given unique talents. Some of us, are musicians, and some of us are not. But each one of us has a certain way of serving God in our particular way. And the battle is won by us collectively, the musicians, the badchans, the comedians, the thinkers, the scientists, the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers, and everyone else. Each one of us, we bring finally godliness into all the scattered places where it has been scattered. And that is the inspiration that I had from this trip out here into Oklahoma City, Tinker Air Force Base, and it's keeping me going. And I'm looking forward to seeing what purpose God gave to me here, to elevate in Oklahoma. And with that, I'm
Well,
going to turn over the camera. Yep.
I think you just did it in giving this class from where you are. You elevated, just where you are right now.
Yep. Yeah, there probably was never a Torah class given from the Best Western on Tinker Diagonal Avenue in Oklahoma City. So,
Can I ask you to repeat why you ended up having to go there for work? I missed it.
It's an Air Force base. So the people we collaborate with work here. So, we at Hanscom, we are the ones that buy and equip these soldiers, but the actual, but the people we're serving are the people here at this base.
Oh, so you have to be there because you're in the
These are our
technological area.
Yeah, we're the technological people helping the people here at the base. So that's what we're here for. Okay.
So are you buying takeout food, or you just packed your own stuff?
There is no takeout food.
I figured that. I mean, maybe you bought takeout, whatever.
I have to go out now and I go to Walmart and see what I can find. Hi.
Oh, so you
You
didn't pack some stuff for yourself, like that you could bring? All right, whatever.
My wife tried to take care of me. Okay.
A wonderful
You're up.
lesson. Thank you, Yechezkel Shimon.
Sorry,
Okay,
I don't mean to
Well,
be
I guess
so.
when you go, okay, good.
Yasher Koach, have a good trip.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a beautiful, wonderful
Thank you so
class. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Okay, good. We're back.
I just missed it because, beep, beep, and whatever.
Uh-huh. Well, you were very quiet, I have to say. I'm going to turn
Well,
off.
I was muted the whole time.
Oh,
So,
okay, good. So I'm going to turn off the recorder, as I said, because I want to have just a discussion with you guys. And
oh, great.
so I'm going to turn off the recording. And
You know what? This is unbelievable.